Okie dokie, I believe we are all the way live. Hello and welcome to my graveyard. I am your host of the evening, the Cemetery Man from Salem, Mass. Always taking names of kicking candy ass, live in living color here with you only on Grande's Graveyard. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, it's the found footage horror special. Ooh, yeah. And we've got a different little virtual background here. Now, I know in the past, these virtual backgrounds tend to mess with the stream and mess with the quality. So if that happens, we could always turn it off. But I figured, I was like, this would be a fun little visual for right now. Whoa, we're being recorded, ladies and gents. There's a goddamn outbreak virus in this house, my God. But yeah, no, I figured a different kind of aesthetic for a show like this. And I thought this would be kind of fun. And like I said, if it hinders I start like repeating, or if it's bad quality, I could always, turn this off easily. I know it's a little bit weird because it's like trying to show my background. Hey, look over here, Sleepaway Camp poster. But you know what? I was like, I gotta try a little different bit of a look here. A little different, just a little different. But yes, tonight on Granny's Graveyard, for the first time ever, it's the found footage horror movie special. And I'm shocked that it's taken me this long. Now, I know in the past there have been found footage horror movies that I've covered, whether it be the original Blair Witch Project or I believe Diary of the Dead I've covered on this channel. There's been found footage horror movies discussed here and there. However, I've never done a show just strictly found footage. And tonight I really wanted to do that. So tonight we're spotlighting not one, not two, but three found footage, aka shot on video horror movies, and two of whom were voted by you, the fans. Now, the first one we're going to be talking about tonight, you can see the name right here in the corner, ladies and gents. You can see it right here in the corner. It's one of my all-time favorite found footage horror movies, and in my opinion, a horror classic, one of the scarier horror movies out there. It is Wreck from 2007. That was the one I wanted to pick. And then for something different, instead of having you guys pick one movie, I figured I'd give you three options, and the only one we'd leave out was the one that got the least amount of votes. So the one that got the least amount of votes was The Last Broadcast from 1998, which is not a very good movie. However, the two that won are two movies that have become sort of cult classics, both of these movies. Of course, one from the year 2008, which has, I can't believe, garnered the amount of steam, momentum, and fandom that it has. And just recently, Second Sight Films, I believe for the 15th anniversary of this film, put out a 4K special edition of Lake Mungo, which is, of course, part of the After Dark Horror Fest number 4. And I've been covering those. I covered the first 2 years, and that would be the 4th year. So I don't know. Maybe one day if I get to that again, I'll have to talk about Lake Mungo again. But it was a part of that, and it's become a huge, huge cult classic now. A lot of people on YouTube say it's one of their favorite films. I know Jordan Peele has famously said it's the movie that scared him the most. So it's a movie that's really, really garnered a big cult following. And then, of course, last but not least, another one that's gained a huge cult following, and a one that almost won the vote. I think it only lost by a couple. And came in second place by a couple, that is, and that's from the year 2015, Hell House LLC. So yes, ladies and gents, we've got three horror movies to discuss tonight, and honestly, we're going to reach every single gambit. We have one that I think is a classic, one that I think is a mixed bag, and one that I think is really overrated. So I'm very excited here tonight, looking different, I don't know if I'm lagging at all. I will totally turn this background off. I just figured this would be fun, like a different, I don't know, kind of a change up of things to have this kind of fun little background. So let's get to the comments, though. I've neglected y'all for far too long. Miss C is here. Ciao, Grande and Graveyardian friends. Welcome, Miss C. I was able to find all the movies you're covering, and I have opinions. Will it be good or bad? Find out tonight only on the Graveyard. Yes, you can watch Hell House LLC and Lake Mungo for free for sure. I had a copy of Wreck, but I don't know what I did with it. I was watching it in my room last night, so it's probably up there. But Wreck, I don't know if that's streaming anywhere, but you can watch Hell House LLC and Lake Mungo for free on a lot of different platforms. So that's pretty cool. I don't know if Wreck is too. If someone wants to be kind enough to share that information with us, by all means. What's this? A Grande Biblehead? I like it though. No, this is we're on camera. Since we're doing found footage, I figured we put myself in this perspective of the camera here. I don't know, something a little bit different. We got Triple H of the Heezy, Horror Head Heather. Hey, Miss C. Hey, Grande. What's going on, Heather? Hope all is well with you, my friend. I don't know if you rock out to Lemmy like the real Triple H does, but that would be really cool. Like if you had your own entrance theme and it would be The Game by Lemmy, that would be some badass shit. So hope all is well, Horror Head Heather. Or you could do a fourth H, a quadruple Triple H if it's Horrorhead Heather and you come out to the Hellraiser song by Lemmy. That would be badass. Just saying, if it works for you, if you get over, don't forget the little people back here. Meant bobblehead. Sorry, Dan, autocorrect. Well, I don't know. Do I look like a floating head? I think the shirt shows enough. I was wearing rocking the actual threads of the show here tonight because I don't have any found footage horror t-shirts, funny enough. We got Ghostface Brett. What the fuck is up? What the fuck is up, Ghostface Brett? Ghostface Brett was saying he was really excited for the show and that this graveyard day, and I'm very excited to have you here, man. Happy to have you in the house. People saying hi to one another. We got Slasher Fred. There was also a 1980 movie, Cannibal Holocaust, which was the very first found footage movie, and my favorite by a mile. I've done fan commentaries for that movie. I've covered it on numerous different shows. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. That's probably in my top 10 favorite horror movies is the original Cannibal Holocaust. I think that's just a masterpiece of film and one of the all-time best. So I'm stoked you brought that one up. It won't be covered here tonight, but without that one, I don't know if we'd have any of these. It's definitely one of the founding fathers. It's on the Rushmore of found footage horror for sure. Hey Brett, what's up? We got people saying hi. Mateo is here. Ciao grande. Very cool background. Rec is in my top 3 of found footage movies. Hi to the whole chat. Well, we're right on the same page. And a little preview for next week. Mr. Matteo Appendino will be joining me live on Grande's Graveyard as we talk about not 1, not 2, but 3 Brian De Palma films. So he's picked one, I've picked one, and the Graveyard, there's still time if you'd like to go over and vote on the community post. I believe there's been over like 50, 60 votes. Like Carlito's Way, Scarface, Fury, Carrie. These are all options that you can vote for. I think right now Scarface has got a pretty decent lead, so we'll have to take quite a few votes. Otherwise, you're going to be saying hello to our little friend. And I'm going to be doing Blowout, and Mateo's choice was The Untouchables for next week. So all good things. Brian De Palma Cinema next week on Grande's Graveyard as Mateo will join me again for the first time since the Giallo special that we did back in January. We got Triple M, Mernsey Movie Mansion. Hey, what's up, Graveyard fam? Let's get some found footage. Well, I know Mernsey was devastated and let down by one of these movies we'll be talking about here tonight. I don't think it's the one that I'm going to start off with, but Mernsey, always happy to have you in the house. We were playing some video games before, man. Always fun time with you. People saying, what's up, guys? We got VV. Look at all the alliteration we have in this house. We got triple M's, triple H's, double V's. I mean, come on. This is alliteration chat. If you don't have an alliterative name, I don't know what the hell you're doing. You better change your gimmick because you ain't going to get over only on Grande's Graveyard. We got VV and the Heezy. I found Rec on a question. Okay. I feel like I haven't seen many found footage horror movies. Well, we're going to be talking about 3 here tonight. You can make up your mind if you want to. Questionable movie site, but I was able to watch. Okay. Love it, Grande. Preferred loaded theme from the Hardy Boys. Well, you can rock out to the loaded theme from the Hardy Boys. I think that's fine. Oh, sweet. I'm looking forward to the De Palma. Yeah, De Palma does rule. I'm very excited to have Mateo back on the show. We're going to talk all things Brian De Palma. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, it's never too late to vote. You guys can still vote. I believe I'm going to close it like Saturday night-ish, Sunday morning-ish. So that's when you have. So you still have a couple of days if you want to go vote. I think Carrie and Sisters are trailing, I believe, Scarface. I think that's how it goes right now. So if you want to check it out for yourself, though, go to the community tab and you can vote away. But it's time, ladies and gents. I think we've wasted enough time here in the intro, and I think it is time to talk all things found footage horror movies tonight on Grande's Graveyard. So I'm very happy. I don't have anything to hold up, but cheers to you. I love you guys. Cheers to a wonderful, safe, happy, healthy weekend. And we're going to kick this son of a bitch off with one of my all-time favorite found footage horror movies. We're going to start this show off hot. Not going to start the show off with the 2 that you guys voted for. I'm going to pick the one that I know and love the most. And from the year 2007, from our good friends over in Mexico, this is Wreck from 2007. Brief plot synopsis. A television reporter and cameraman follow emergency workers into a dark apartment building and are quickly locked inside with something very terrifying. Oh, yeah. Wreck from 2007. Now, I've been thinking about this all week, and I rewatched the movie last night for the umpteenth time. I've seen this movie a lot. I don't know necessarily how to classify this particular movie in a scholarly way, but I'm going to try to. The way I would describe this movie, This is an oh shit horror movie. And what do I mean by that? An oh shit horror movie. There's so many instances in this movie where you will find yourself saying, oh shit, like, or holy shit, or oh my God, or it's just that type of movie where you're on the edge of your seat pretty much throughout this thing. And it basically tells the story of this reporter. Of course, the character's name is Angela Vidal, and it's played by Manuela Velasco, who, fun fact, in real life is a news reporter, or was a news reporter. I don't know if she's still doing that occupation now, but at the time of filming this movie, she was an actual newscaster / reporter. So she slides into this role perfectly. She feels very natural. It's very organic, as she's kind of at the opening, like, oh, if this sucks, you can cut it out and stuff like that. She's having a very kind of boring time on the job, and they're taking a look, her and her cameraman respectively, who is also the director of photography. The cameraman Pablo is also the DOP, which I thought that was kind of funny. The DOP has a role in this movie, it has a voice in this movie. Really cool, something unique. Of course, she is covering this firehouse, and you're seeing what they do in between hours, when they try to catch up on some sleep, what they eat for dinner, what times they go out and play in the rec room, they play basketball, things like that. And we get introduced to this whole fire department as we're kind of going around. We're interviewing a couple of these guys. And then, of course, they get a call in. And, of course, they drive out to this little apartment building. And from there on out, for the next about hour and 10 minutes, you are on an absolute roller coaster ride of a movie that just never seems to let up on its tension. And it is so much freaking fun from the word go. I mean, after the first 10 minutes, you're really never given a chance to breathe. It never really lets up. It's just a full throttle ride. And I'm here for every single minute of it. I mean, I really love this movie. And it runs at about an hour and 18 minutes. That's how long this movie is. And after the first 10 minutes, it's basically just an hour of fun, an hour plus of fun, tense craziness. And like, I thought, for a movie that's made for $2 million, for a movie that primarily, other than the first 10 minutes when we're in this firehouse, has one setting, right? This apartment building. This is a movie that could have easily felt very cheap. It could have easily felt very small, yet they were able to make it feel like it was a big budget picture. They were able to make this apartment building really feel like it had multiple layers and floors and rooms and things like that. It just felt very spacious. And I think that was a really big key as to why this works. Now, we're introduced to some characters in the apartment. They have this old couple. You have this guy that's really not sure of anything. We have this woman and her daughter. And what I like to think of as a callback to George Romero in Night of the Living Dead, because, of course, we all remember the Karen Cooper character, who's this sick kid that they have in the basement. And the basement is the best place. And, of course, you have this mother I think she's a mother, and the father's on the outside of the building with the medication. He went out to the CVS or whatever to get some prescription medicine for the kid. So he's locked out of the building. So the mom's hold on to the kid, and, oh, she just has tonsillitis. She just has tonsillitis. And you know where that's going from the word go. You know the kid's probably infected like the rest of the people in this building that are causing this big outbreak. And of course, it doesn't take us long to find these people that are kind of rabid zombie people. I don't know really what umbrella you want to put them under, but they're infected people. It's a virus movie, basically. And they start off with this little shy, fat little old lady. She attacks and bites one of the fire captains, and then just insanity ensues. This is a movie that, to me, has so much energy and entertainment value from a popcorn movie standpoint that you can never be bored by this movie, to me. Like you can have criticisms, you can not like it. I don't know many people that don't, but there's one thing you can't call this movie, and it's boring. It's just never boring. It's so fun and so quick paced, and it never gives you a chance to really settle in, and get comfortable. And that's what I like about it. It really, really kind of pushes you off the edge of your seat. And there's a great scene where all the characters are trying to get out of the building towards the beginning, and we see they're pretty much quarantining the building off. They're putting these plastic sheets and covers and curtains and things, and you see the sirens, and you hear somebody on a bullhorn. Nobody gets out of the building, nobody at all. And that immediately sets in the claustrophobia. You're like, wait a minute, whoa, they can't get out of this building. What the hell is going on? What do they know that we don't know? Thus, kind of making the horror drive home a little bit. And then, of course, after these characters, they're just arguing and bickering. We just hear a loud echoing yell. We hear, ah, and then boom, this guy fucking falls out of the sky. he fucking falls in front of and he just splats all over the place. And you're like, holy crap, man. Again, a movie of holy shit. Just a holy shit moment. Like, whoa, as they're all kind of looking at this guy and picking him up, and his face is just all pushed in and there's blood everywhere. And everybody's like, what the hell is going on? I loved that. I was like, holy cow, like, what are we in store for? And the answer is everything. I mean, it's just a really, really good time. I would love to see this at a theater. I think this would be a great time at the movies. We get a little bit more of these characters. We find a little bit more of what's going on. Like, we at one point, we have this guy, he's a health inspector who comes in this hazmat suit, and they want information from him, but he's trying to, get a sample or something. And we hear the story that he tells where, there's someone that brought in a rabid dog, and, the dog, it looked like it went into a coma. Then it woke up and got very violent. And that's maybe what's spreading around this apartment. Really cool. I mean, I really, really like that stuff. I think it's a really fun little origin that you get there. And it's just a nonstop ride. It almost feels like a video game, this movie. It's like a haunted house attraction that just really kicks ass. It's just really working. I don't know. I have a blast with this thing. I think this is really fun from start to finish. And, there's some great gags they have in there. Like, there's a great scene where they handcuff this person to the railing. And they're like, okay, we're just going to do this to protect you. And then, of course, there's a part where there's, an infected person coming and they can't get the handcuffed off. So that person's just totally fucked. They were trying to protect them and literally set them up to die. I thought that was great. There's the scene where the daughter, the Karen Cooper-esque character, they find out that she's got bit by this dog. And they all kind of, the attention focuses to her. And they're like, well, we know the kid's got to be sick. She probably doesn't have tonsillitis. And the mother's like, no, she has tonsillitis. And then, of course, right as she says that, her own kid bites her on the nose and just this great blood squib everywhere. And everyone's screaming, oh, shit, oh, my God. Great. I mean, I thought that was great, too. I thought this was just great. I do like they do some character development. Like, there's parts where they interview each person individually. They get the old couple bickering, if I could speak properly. That I thought was really fun. I thought that worked. I thought they were kind of a fun, cute little couple. Wanted to see them survive. But you pretty much know this is a movie that one by one people getting picked off. And I do think, for what it's worth, I know this is not a deep horror film by any stretch of the imagination. This is more of an entertaining horror movie. I do think that they have nice, subtle messages of horror. And I do think they had something to say. And it's funny because in a world where this same year, if not the year after, I know some places it was 2007, some places it was 2008, George Romero, of course, directed Diary of the Dead, which I am a defender of. I don't hate it like most people. I really don't. I think of the last three, that's the only one I really like. But that's me. I know I'm going to be in the minority there. This, I think, got a very similar message that movie was trying to get across here. And what do I mean by that? There's a lot of points where they're telling her, turn off the camera. Don't turn on that camera, And she's saying, no, we got to keep the camera rolling because people are got to see, whether we make it or not, what happened in here. Like we got quarantined off. They closed this building off. We're not getting out most likely. And we're going to expose it if we do. And if we don't, this footage is going to get out and you're going to see how many innocent people died because you quarantined this building off to try to keep this contagion inside this building. And I thought that was really subtly done. I thought it was really effective here. And as much as it hurts me to say this, and a lot of people are not going to like me saying this, but it's the truth. I think that this is a particular movie where George Romero really, I think, would have liked to have made at this time. I think his commentary in Diary of the Dead is very unsubtle, and I think that's why a lot of people turn against that movie. Now, was he right about the commentary? He was absolutely right. Was he way ahead of his time with that commentary? I think he absolutely was, but I do think he beats you over the head with it a little bit in that movie, whereas here it's very subtle, and the rest of the movie you get your zombie or infected person or whatever you want to call them action, and I thought that was really good. I thought that's how you subtly blend that in there. It's the horrors of what these people are doing, on the outside, containing the contagion on the in. And these, of course, we see old, young, fat, skinny, all these people that, we probably encountered in our everyday lives that lost their lives because of what's going on out there. And I thought that was, again, subtle, but it really worked. I thought that was like one of the more impressive things about this movie. And it's like, it makes me sad that George Romero made a movie very similar with very themes in the same time period. And I just don't think that movie has a quarter of the energy or excitement or entertainment value that this movie has. Now, I know a lot of people are not going to like me saying that, but I do think that's the case. And I'm a Romero loyalist. But I'm telling you that. I mean, he wishes he could have made a movie like this. He wishes he could have made a movie like Fido. It feels like in some ways to me, this is a perfect zombie movie or infected persons movie, whereas it amped everything up. It toned everything up. Like you look at the early 2000s, you see a lot of zombie movies or infected people movies where people are running. Your 28 Days Later of the World, your Dawn of the Dead 04s. Right, these movies where they dial up the zombie movie. We got to stay with the times, you know. And I feel like this is a movie that it really does. It almost feels like with Diary of the Dead, it was trying to have that new filter, the shot on video filter, but with an old like mentality, an old school kind of story that they were trying to tell. And it just, I don't know if those two meshed together as great as they could have. So that's just me. That's kind of where I'm coming from with this. But man, the whole, to me, finale, like the last 25 minutes of this movie is some of the most insane, fun cinema you could watch. Like it is just off the wall crazy. You know, people running up these like, you know, spiral staircases away from these things. And there's a point where they get into this room at the very top. And somebody, you know, he's like, hey, maybe we can get out through the attic. The cameraman, he goes up and he's looking around. And all of a sudden, there's just like a little kid there. And dude, the first time I saw that, I jumped back. Like it was a great, great jump scare. I was like, oh shit, like you got me. And then, of course, the camera drops. And the rest of the movie, we see in night vision, which I thought was a brilliant thing to do. It was like, whoa, this is totally changing up the aesthetic here as we see this creature that looks like this giantly tall, emaciated, skinny old woman with like no yits. And it's the scariest, one of the scariest things I've ever seen. It's an immediate, you go, wait, what the fuck is that thing? You know? And it's fantastic. Like I really, really liked that. I thought that was like really cool. The whole design of that creature. And I know with the new Alien Romulus, they tried to kind of recreate that. I think they were going for a moment like that. Like I believe that Fede Alvarez was probably a big fan of Wreck and was like, hey, we need that at the end of our Alien movie, which, you know, I know for a lot of people it didn't work. And, you know, upon a rewatch, maybe it won't work for me either as well, at least the ending. But, you know, I appreciate the effort. I think it's an interesting try. Here, though, it's just so much better. It is so fucking unnerving as this thing beats the hell out of the cameraman with a camera, or I'm sorry, with a hammer. And then, of course, our lead goes to try to make a run for it. She drops the camera. You see the camera on her, and she's kind of laying down on her back. She goes to reach out for it and gets dragged away as we fade to black. A great ending. One of my favorite endings in horror history. It's just so great because this is a genre too, found footage, where everybody and their mother is always trying to outdo the ending of one Blair Witch Project. It's that, whether you like Blair Witch Project or not, and I know a lot of people don't, the ending of that movie is great. It's so creepy from the first time you see that. When you see the guy standing in the corner and Heather dropped the camera and the screams, and you remember the story of Rustin Parr told in the very opening 5-7 minutes of the movie. That to me is one of the greatest endings of all time. How creepy that is. Whether you like the movie or not, that ending works. So a lot of found footage try to have that ending to me. That you try to have that like big thrill, exhilarating moment as you leave the screen, as you leave the theater, as you're getting into your car to drive home back to normal everyday life. This is one of those endings that really does work and recaptures that lightning, in my opinion. It's so good. I love the visual, this woman crying and going to reach for the camera and then dragged away. So good. And I know it was so good, in fact, when they went to remake this in America just the following year. I believe it was 2008 when they remade it in America as Quarantine, starring Jennifer Carpenter from Dexter, and I believe it was directed by John Eric Dowdle, who made a ton of found footage movies. We're going to make movies like Devil, which is the people in the elevator. I mean, that movie just doesn't work at all to me. It's a really poor remake to this, and There's a lot of reasons for that. I mean, it's not as organic as this is. The Jennifer Carpenter, as much as I like her as an actress, and she's really good in Exorcism of Emily Rose and anything else she's ever been in, she didn't work in that part. Like this actress, I thought was so much more genuine and organic, and she was so much more likable. She just felt more real. She felt more blue collar. Whereas Jennifer Carpenter, it's like, yeah, you just put a pretty face in this. Like it was just evident what you did. And I understand why they did it, but that's why I think this movie works over the remake. The remake is this, but it's very processed. It's very inorganic. Whereas this is a raw, gritty, balls to the walls, no holds barred horror movie, late night, midnight horror movie that's just going to scare the shit out of you. At least it did me. The remake doesn't work in that respect. I think the remake feels very processed. It feels very inorganic. It feels very by the numbers. It was almost like, all right, yeah, you just wanted to do this in English. And it's like, why? For what? Like, I don't know. It just doesn't work. But like I was saying, they liked the ending so much in America. The poster of Quarantine is the last shot, is Jennifer Carpenter getting dragged away, which I always was like, what? Like, you gave away the ending of your movie on the theatrical one-sheet poster. Are you serious? Like, I still don't understand why they did that. I think that's such a weird move. Like, I remember in the trailers, too, that was how they promoted it. Like, that was the last thing you saw in the trailers, too. And that's the last shot of the movie. I was always just, like, baffled by that. But I love Wreck. I'm a huge fan. It's like a 9 out of 10 for me. I love this movie. I really don't have much complaints. I know a lot of people hate the explanation at the end with the whole religious thing. But from what I understand, they retcon that by the time you get to like Rec 4. I believe Rec 4 retcons the ending of this movie. So by the end of it, it's not even canon. I know they do a little bit in part 2, and I like part 2 of this, if anyone's curious. I've never seen 3 or 4, although Mernsey was telling me he really likes part 3 a lot, and then he hated part 4. So I don't know. I've not seen Rec 3 or 4, but Rec 1 is, to me, an all-time horror classic. And for found footage movies, it's got to be in my top 5, probably even higher. Like, it's definitely in my top 5. I don't know, what my top 5 would be exactly, but it would definitely be there. Totally a big fan of Rex. So let's go back to the plot. The chat. Sorry. The Hardy Boys was a very popular book series. I think that they inspired those children 80s movies like The Goonies. Wow. I know she meant the WWE Hardy Boys, but yes, absolutely. The Monkey. Thoughts on Blair Witch Project? I honestly feel I won't buy the newest version as I grew up with the original cut. The one they showed in theaters and had the missing persons posters about it. There's no other movie in the history of my life watching movies that I've grown more on as opposed to my initial viewing as I have since my last viewing of that movie. The first time I saw it, I didn't like it. I thought it was a complete waste of time. But the ending got me. Again, even the first time I was like, that ending works. I was like, I wish that was in a better movie. Then I watched it again, worked a little bit better. Again, worked a little bit better. And it's one of those movies that over time has just become one of my favorites. Like now I really love the movie. So and that's rare for me. You can maybe count on 1 or 2 hands the amount of movies I didn't like the first time around that I loved upon initial, rewatches. And Blair Witch Project is one of them. I really think it's great. I really like the 3 lead actors. I love Heather, Mike, and Josh. I always thought they were great. And I know it's great. I mean, that's 25 years ago now, that movie. It's so wild. How that movie got over, the fake documentaries and the whole using the internet to its advantage and the amount of money. It almost made $250 million worldwide on a budget of like $60K. That movie has to be a huge inspiration to any up-and-coming filmmaker to see the nerve they struck for as little money as they did. They rented the cameras they used from a Circuit City. Circuit City isn't even around anymore. It's that movie and its reputation and its legacy is almost helps it too. Like, to me, I know it's a love it or hate it. As far as that new Second Sight thing, I don't have region free. I'll never do region free. I just don't. I honestly, if I did do region free, I would be broke. That's a big reason why I don't do it. So I'm not getting that. The extended cut, I'm sure it will leak somewhere. And as far as I know, there's another company releasing it too. I think on 4K, which I don't know if there's even a reason to release a movie like that on 4K. That was shot on fucking 1998 Circuit City cameras. I know, is there really a reason for a 4K? I think that what makes found footage so popular is how realistic they are, because long ago, found footage, or as they were called, home movies, were shown only in private. That's a great point. And yeah, I think that with this particular movie, it was so smart to use that gimmick. Like, a lot of people look at it as a gimmick, a way to make things cheaper. And sure, is it absolutely, out of the $2 million budget, if they had tried to shoot Wreck as a regular movie, it may have felt cheaper. They avoid that by shooting it the way it is, because it gives it another element of being a raw, gritty horror movie. It adds upon it as opposed to taking away. And I think that's the brilliance of this particular movie, using the gimmick. There's a lot of other movies there. It's like, why? Why would you shoot this found footage style? But this isn't one of them. This is one that it really doesn't work if it's not a shot on video movie. So that's just my 2 cents. Granted, the only first time I watched, I know, no hablo español, but I didn't get the humor. I thought it was pure chaos, but I liked it. Yeah, it is pure chaos for sure. Live Style Rewind, LSR in the Heezy, just joining in. But what do you know about the last broadcast and earlier found footage? I've never seen it, but own it on VHS and plan on watching it next month. Throwing some hearts. Thank you so much. That was the one that lost out on the poll. So if had that won, I would have been reviewing that tonight on the show. So sorry about that. But I can give you my brief thoughts. It's a precursor to the Blair Witch Project. It's basically this guy shooting a documentary, and there's a twist in it. I don't want to give it away to you, but I don't know. I if I say too much, I'll ruin the twist for you, and I don't want to do that. I'm kind of iffy on the movie. It's one of the lesser ones for me, but hey, maybe you'll like it, because we're about to talk about movies that are beloved. Hell House LLC, the amount of people that have messaged me this week about how much they love that fucking movie. I'm so sorry. I'm going to let you all down tonight. I'm going to forewarn you. I'll probably lose viewers for saying this early, but holy shit, am I going to let you down. Mernsey, for me, Blair is more a marketing movie than a good movie, but it's just my humble opinion. And hey, I think that's totally fine too. The legacy of that movie has totally, like, it can really take over what the movie actually is. Like, does it make the average movie or a good movie great? Does it elevate it to that level? For me, it does, but I can understand for others how it's just it's nonsense. I totally, because I've been on both sides of the fence. That's the thing with Blair Witch. I saw the movie that people hate, and I see the movie people love, so I could totally get either side of that fence. I really do. It's amazing at how easy it is to shoot a movie with your phone, because long ago video cameras were very huge and very heavy, and there were lots of things, and the batteries and the lens cap. Absolutely. And yeah, no, I mean, now they shoot full movies on iPhones now. It's crazy. I think that movie, what was it called? Oh man, it was a Steven Soderbergh joint, and the entire movie was shot on a phone. And I'm like, dude, it's just so crazy. I think it's called Unsane from Soderbergh, and I was like, wow, like, this is absolutely crazy that certain people will shoot on a phone. And like, to me, I don't really like that. I think you should be filming with a camera. That's just me. But again, you have to realize how big Blair Witch was when it came out. I mean, look at every fucking spoof that came out at that time. You had the Bar Wench, which was the porn spoof, the Bogus Witch Project, Scary Movie, like all of these movies that just decided, like, this is the easiest thing in the world to spoof, because all we have to do is get a bunch of friends, go into the woods, grab a camera, and we could spoof the shit out of this. And there were video games and journals and all the marketing that they did. It really struck a nerve. It really changed the genre. Some will say for the better, some will say for the worst. But there's no denying that it changed horror. It really did. And as much as I don't like a Paranormal Activity, I hate that movie. There's no doubt that movie struck a nerve and changed the genre too. And that, I think, to this day is the last movie that really did that. I don't really think since that day we've had that universal $300 million horror hit that was an original movie, not based off an established entity already. And I think that's a big accomplishment in society today, where everything's a Marvel movie or a fucking franchise remake or sequel, or the movie with James McAvoy. It was a fucking remake of a movie that came out 2 years ago tomorrow. What is it? I Don't Speak, or whatever the fuck. I ain't seeing that shit, because I saw the original. It was damn good. Leave it alone. What the fuck? Oh, we got James McAvoy in it. Fuck you, you motherfuckers. I can't stand Hollywood sometimes. Blumhouse, go fuck himself. I need to rewatch Quarantine again now that I saw Wreck, but I like think I like Quarantine better. Oh, interesting. I think Quarantine stinks in comparison to Wreck. It's such a, like, how can I explain this? It's like if you made a homemade, nice, delicious cheeseburger, handcrafted, spiced it up nice, salt, garlic, all that shit, some nice cheese, all the condiments, just a delicious burger, as opposed to getting like a value menu cheeseburger at Wendy's. That's to me the difference. It's just one is so organic and it feels like it was so much better crafted, and the other one is just, cheap and forgettable and, I don't know. Lacks all the energy. People saying hi to one another. Rec 2 is excellent. Rec is excellent. 2 is good too. Very fresh. Awesome. Great to see. Okay, awesome. The movie Open Water is definitely a found footage movie because of the way it's shot. That's a really good movie. That's an underrated one. You were talking about it before, your Mount Rushmore found footage. We know Rec, Cannibal Holocaust are there. I would say Blair Witch would be there. Those three absolutely are the first three that come to mind. That's probably my top three. As far as a fourth, oh man. Honestly, I love Cloverfield. I think Cloverfield was such a good idea. And I've talked about those movies on the channel. I did. That's a pre-recorded graveyard, one of the very few, because I remember I had horrible Wi-Fi when I recorded that live and I had to re-record it. So Cloverfield 1, I love. I think that would probably be my 4. It would be Wreck, Holocaust, it would be Blair Witch and Cloverfield. Those would probably be my top 4. But there's plenty of good ones out there. Like The Tunnel is a really good one. I don't know if anyone's really seen that. That's a really underrated one. I forget if that was Barry Levinson or that might have been The Bay that Barry Levinson did. I forget. But The Tunnel is a really good one. I know a lot of people love the Creep movies. Trying to think of more that I really would really put over. Off the top of my head, those are the ones that come to mind, but I'm sure there's others. If I sat down and I looked at a list. Thanks, Monkey. I appreciate it, but unfortunately it was an awful week. COVID has been, oh my gosh, I didn't know you had COVID. I hope you feel better too. That's terrible. There was a movie called Green Inferno that was found footage. No, Green Inferno? I didn't realize. I saw that once and hated the shit out of it, man. That movie fucking sucks. I thought The Reporter was obnoxious and annoying, but I'm due for a rewatch of Quarantine. Quarantine is pretty rough. I don't know. Another famous electronics store that was very popular was Radio Shack. Yes, totally. And I don't know if I think those are extinct too. I don't know. I haven't seen a Radio Shack in years, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there are Radio Shacks still. I know Circuit Cities are resting pepperonis. Kubrick Lover 1972 is in the house. Hey, Grande. No, I don't like Blair Witch at all. No, a lot of people don't. Dr. Howdy, we were just playing video games too. 666. Cheers, Mr. Grande from Grande's Graveyard. Cheers, Mr. Howdy. Enjoy Alien Resurrection tonight with the lady. I'm so curious to hear you guys' thoughts again, watching it again over all these years. Tangerine, I think, was shot on a phone. And yes, I think Soderbergh did a movie on a phone. That's right. Slasher Fred. Thank you for mentioning that. That's right. The Scooby-Doo, where that is like to this day to me, one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen. Look that up. If you haven't seen this on YouTube, it's like Scooby-Doo and they're spoofing the Blair Witch Project. And it's like all of them, and one of them standing in the corner. I remember when I first saw it, I was like, wow, this has become one of the biggest phenomenons. Like, maybe another horror movie where fucking Scooby-Doo is being brought into it, man, like, in referencing it. Really cool. Unsane was shot on iPhone. That's right. Yeah, that to me, like, that's the world we live in now. It's so wild. Like, that passes for cinema. Now, a guy like Soderbergh totally was probably doing it as an experiment because I know how deep into technicality he is, and I'm a big fan of Steven Soderbergh. But like you have people that are legitimate up and coming filmmakers that's all they'll shoot on. It's like, I don't know. To me, you're not a filmmaker. Like maybe if you want to use it as a gimmick, if you want to try it, that's one thing. But if everything, like, I don't know, at that point, it's like, I don't know. It's how much of costs can you cut? And it's just a little bit over the top for me. I think the movie 13 was also shot on iPhone, I think. Grant, I dislike Paranormal Activity 2. Absolutely, yeah. Grant, I think you're hiding what you're thinking. No, I don't ever do that. I don't ever do that. Anthony Chobot, he messaged me right before I went live here. Anthony, hope all's well with you, man. I'm doing good. Work was awesome. That's good. It's always nice to have a nice work day. The Ginger Ninja. Wah, wah. Hey, what's up, Ginger Ninja? Hope all's well with you, buddy. I remember Radio Shack. Haven't seen him in ages. Me neither, man. But you're up in Alaska, right? So what do you like go out? I'm curious. In Alaska, like, do you just fucking go out on your front porch and just go fucking ice fishing? Like, that must be the life, man. Dude, I love Troll Hunter. Thank you for fucking... Troll Hunter's great. Troll Hunter is these fucking people, and like they're trying to expose trolls, and if you shine lights on the trolls, you can turn them into stone, and the trolls can smell you if you're Christian. It's a weird movie, but I love it. It's from the guy that would go on to do Autopsy of Jane Doe, which I really like, and it's also, I think what else did he do? He did the Scariest Stories to Tell in the Dark movie, which sucks. And he did that voyage on the fucking Demeter, Last Voyage on the Demeter, which fucking sucks too. That's for the birds, that movie. What a disappointment. Hey, Ginger, you made it before the send. Which electronics store did Bill and Ted buy all the electronics they needed to make robots? That's a good fucking question. I don't remember. It's been a while since I've seen that movie. I love the first two Bill and Ted movies are great. Somebody sent me a link to the Scooby-Doo Blair Witch knockoff. I hated it. Really? I thought it was really funny. I'm not in Alaska. You're in Connecticut now? I thought you were in Alaska. Why did I think? I could have swore you told me at one point you were in Alaska. Troll Hunter is awesome. Yeah, Troll Hunter is a fucking blast. That's a really good one. See, yeah, I would need a list in front of me to really fucking dissect it. But you're asking me Rushmore. This is one of them right here. Wreck from 2007, like a 9 out of 10 for me. I really, really enjoy this movie. I really do. I never lived in Alaska. Dude, what the fuck? Where did I get that from? This fucking guy. He's like, I don't ice fish, you son of a bitch. Like, I never even been to Alaska, you son of a bitch. That is so fucking funny, dude. I'm sorry. I don't know where I got that from. I could have swore you told me that at some point. So I don't know. Maybe my memory is shitty, but it's usually really good, my memory. So I have no fucking idea. Is what it is. I have a true story about Troll Hunter. I once was very stoned and remember nothing but eating Kentucky Fried Chicken while watching Troll Hunter. That is quite the anecdote, my friend. That is quite the anecdote. But with all that being said, oh geez, what do I do? Break people's hearts next, or do we go to the one that I'm mixed about? Let's break people's hearts next. Why not? Let's keep the show hot. Let's keep this show on the road as we move to a movie that's almost 10 years old. It came out in the year of 2015. Fun fact, that's the year I graduated high school. And this has become a big cult movie. A lot of people love this movie. A lot of people put this over. A lot of people say this scared the hell out of them. I just don't really see it, but we'll talk about it. We'll get into it. This is from the year 2015. This is Hell House LLC. Yes. Brief plot synopsis. 5 years after an unexplained malfunction causes the death of 15 tour goers and staff on the opening night of a Halloween haunted house tour, a documentary crew travels back to the scene of the tragedy to find out what really happened. Yeah, I'm sorry. I know a lot of people, the amount of people that messaged me and they were like, I love this movie. I feel so bad. I really do. Like, I genuinely feel bad that I don't really like this movie at all. And I kind of think it sucks. That's as nicely as I can put it, but I don't know, man. We're going to have to get into this, and I may say some disparaging things about it. I feel like it's slowing me down here now. Should we kill this background? I think we're going to kill the background here because it doesn't look like it's keeping up with me. So we're going to have to, we'll just kill this background. We'll do normal. Okay. Now won't be giving anybody motion sickness now. Sorry. But it looked like it was slowing my hands down. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. We'll kill the background. The movie starts off, it's opening night of this like haunted house attraction. It's in an abandoned hotel in upstate New York, the Abaddon Hotel or whatever. And you see from a perspective camera of one of the people that went in that shit hit the fan, but we don't really get the glimpse of what happened. We get an idea of what happened. Everybody's kind of freaking out. And then we kind of jump around from there on out. We know that this tragedy happened. A lot of people died. But what happened that night? What happened in the Hell House LLC? What really went on? And the entire movie from there kind of works as a build to us seeing the finale and us seeing what really happened. And of course, we have a documentary crew that's shooting this. It's very much shot like a documentary, mockumentary, if you will. They're interviewing the only lone survivor of the crew, this woman character, which I can get her name here. I'm sorry. I forget her damn name off the top of my head. She wasn't the most memorable actress. I'm sorry. What's her name? Rosie Traynor is June Palmer, who... Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's fucking Lake Mungo. I clicked the wrong tab here. I'm sorry. Alice Balke as Diane Graves, who she's nothing to run home about. Sorry. She's the lone survivor. She's acting fucking weird, and they're interviewing her about what happened. And then we go back to the footage of the day they got there. They're setting it up. They're setting up all the gags, and they try for character development. They try to get you invested in these people. But one of the biggest problems this movie has is there's no flow to the movie at all. It's just too jumping around all over the place. We never really get a chance to sit at the table and breathe with these people, get to know them. It's like they're trying to do that. Like there's a point where they're all standing at the bar and, hey man, wild turkey, and they're pouring wild turkey for people. But I never got to know these motherfuckers. Like you never really get a sense of who any of them are. I will say this, they almost all sucked at acting. I mean, all of them sucked. The only guy I thought was okay was Adam Schneider as Mac. I thought he was the only one that felt like he was really trying and doing a good job trying to make this feel like this really happened. This is an organic feeling horror movie where it's like, okay, like, I don't know. I felt he did a good job. Everybody else, it was like, wow, I'm in a movie. Like, just the bad acting. And that's a really big flaw when you're making a found footage horror movie, because it's supposed to feel gritty and raw and real, but it just doesn't. I mean, it really doesn't. It doesn't feel at all organic to me. Like it just feels like it was very thrown together and it's very all over the place. And they try to make this place scary with giving it the legend. Oh, in 1980, people disappeared in here and the hotel owner hung himself. And they try to do these scare sequences that, what have you, a lot of people were fucking frightened of. Like this movie frightened quite a few people. I'm not one of them. I didn't see anything in this that really scared me or got me going. But some people really find this movie scary. And if you do that, by all means. There's a scene where the guy is walking into the basement and he sees what he thinks is his friend in a clown costume. And he's like, hey, buddy, what's going on? And he's fucking around with him. And then he hears somebody call for him. He goes back to the other room and he's like, wait a minute, you're here? But who was there? And he runs back over and the guy's gone. And then there's just a dummy clown sitting on the floor in the corner. And he's like, oh my God, watch this back. I don't know. People fucking freaked out. I didn't. I just was like, all right, like that. I know he did that gimmick. Like, yeah, I just kind of threw up my arms. I was like, I don't know. I didn't care for that part. What other scare sequences did they try? There's a horrible, really like frustratingly horrible scene where this one guy, he's suspecting that there's bad things going on. He has a camera by his bed. He perfectly puts it so he's off center, which it's so blatantly, I'm off center. Look at the thing in the corner behind me that's coming towards me. There's a person in the corner with like these glowing eyes that's getting closer and closer to him. And what does this fucking guy do? He hides underneath the fucking covers like a fucking bitch. Yeah, I got some covers here. This fucking guy, he just literally, the person's getting closer to him and he goes, and then looks up, the person's closer, and then, what the fuck, man? What? And then it gets closer until he fucking puts it down, and then the fucking lady kills his ass. Like, you're hiding under the covers? This ain't Kayako Sayeki. This ain't Ju-on. You're not Takashi Shimizu. What? I was like, oh man, like, that's fucking lame. Like, immediately was like, that's just lame, dude. Like, this motherfucker is hiding under the covers. Like, you deserve to die. You're pussy. Oh, Jesus. It all is so clunky, and they're all arguing, and a lot of them, this is haunted. It's definitely haunted. I'm fucking quitting, bro. Oh, fine, go ahead. Quit, man. And the guy does. It's horribly acted. They convince the guy, oh, stay. We know it's haunted, and our friend went missing. Their friend goes fucking missing for days, and nobody decides to call the cops. Oh, he probably just went on a beer run. Fuck your mother, you fucking asshole. He went on a beer run. Your fucking mother didn't go. I didn't pick this motherfucker up to go down to the fucking strobe show and get a Miller Lite and to fucking shove a fucking Michelob Ultra up your fucking ass. He wasn't on a beer run. Come on. bunch of nonsense, man. Yeah, the fucking guy. Motherfucker. Ugh. He was on a beer run. That's why I didn't call the cops. There's a point where he calls them on the phone and they're like, hey, man, hey, are you okay? We've been worried about you. And you hear this demonic, like, ah! And they just drop the phone. He's like, what was that, man? Like, what the fuck? I don't know. This movie just doesn't work from the scare element. It pisses me the fuck off in every way. I just was like, oh, Jesus. The guy shows up again. Oh, I'm back now, but I'm not saying a word to anybody, and nobody thinks it's weird. All right, are you ready to open in this night? They're opening the night, and it's like, okay, now we're going to get the perspective. Now we're going to see what really happened. We have this woman that's kind of dressed like slutty, and she's tied up like she's being sacrificed. We have an actor in a clown costume that's sitting next to the dummies. It really, it's like, okay, if this pays off, if this is a crazy finale, I'm all for it. And I just think the finale is so clunky. Like, to me, I don't know if this was intentional or not. I really don't know. I don't know if this was a case of they were trying to show you a little bit, but only, I don't know. I don't know how to explain this. Were they going for Blair Witch where we never see the witch? We never show. We just make you feel. We make you imagine the horror in your mind. And what you imagine in your mind can never be topped. That element can never be too scary. Like, I don't know if they're going for that or if they really are going for the shock value, because if they're going for the shock value, you fared miserably. And if you're going for the, oh, you don't see, we see enough, but not enough. I don't know how to explain it. Like, they have one of these actors, the big fat clown actor. He goes running out of the room. He sprints his fat ass out of there. And the lady is like, help me. This isn't part of the show. And there's this guy with a cloak. That's all it is. It looks like the Grim Reaper with a fucking cloak on. It looks like the Grim Reaper from Scrooged. That's what it looks like as it's coming closer to her. And this fat clown guy ran out and was so horrified by what he saw, like hung himself a week later. I'm like, buddy, all you saw was a guy in a fucking cloak. That was worth hanging yourself over, my guy. What? Like, why didn't you help this bitch? She was literally like 2 ropes. You could have easily got her out of there. But no, they don't do it. The people that run the place, they try to stop it. They all get picked off until we're down to the final girl. She runs into the fucking guy from before that was hiding under the covers. She's like, well, we got to get out of here. And he's not talking because he's possessed, I guess, by a demon. He smacks her over the fucking head, drags her away, and then we get the idea that she's possessed by one of these demons. And the whole time she's being interviewed, she's trying to lure this documentary crew back to the fucking hotel so they can collect more souls, I guess. That's the big twist ending. That's the big wow. That's the whole big where I'm supposed to walk out of the theater with an erection harder than a fucking diamond. And it doesn't work at all. It just doesn't to me. I don't think it was scary. I don't think it was well acted. I don't think it was well directed. I do think you had a good idea. I do think the concept was there. I think you could have pulled a movie like this off really, truly well. I think this was a situation where the found footage element really hurt it. I don't think this needed to be found footage. I think if anything, that crippled the movie. Because a lot of it's like going back and forth. And they try to do these gags. Oh, someone's playing the piano. No, they're not. And they try to go like disperse in footage towards the end where all the, oh, we set this up. Aren't we smart? Not really. The director of this, I'll give you his name. He would only go on to direct Hell House movies. Stephen Cognetti directed this and 3 other Hell House movies. One of them's a prequel and you have 2 sequels. So it's a quadrilogy, if you will. I don't care to ever see any of the other ones. I really don't like this movie. I'm sorry. It's just lame. It's lame from top to bottom. You had a good idea, and that's basically it. I don't think any of the rest of it works. It's not entertaining. It's a chore to sit through. I don't think it's scary. But, hey, that's the thing. And I know that people are going to not like this review. I apologize. I really do, because I know this is a beloved fucking movie. The amount of people that messaged me this week that were like, hey, man, I fucking love Hell House LLC. I was like I did have the heart to tell, because it was just such an overabundance of people. So I was like, I'll give you my real thoughts on the show. And, you know, it is what it is. It does work for some people, though. So, hey, maybe this is a situation where horror is subjective, right? I'm always saying this, comedies and horror are the most subjective things. I may watch the same comedy as you. I may not laugh once, but you may have a grand old time and laughing if that's your sense of humor. Same with this. I watched this movie that was so horrifying, so horrific, so scary, so edge on your seat. I mean, it was a fart in church for me. It didn't work. But there's some people that it really did work for. So in that vein, I respect the subjective part of it. There are some people that truly were fucking horrified by this. And that's awesome because it seems like it's a majority situation. So I'm happy people like this. It just really didn't work for me, brother. It just didn't. I don't know. But that's it. That's neither here nor there. Let's hear what you guys have to say in the comments. I'm sorry if I went a little hard on it, but it is just what it is. I think I read that comment before. Found footage movies make me think of those mockumentary movies, and this is one of them. This is definitely this one, and especially the movie we'll talk about next, Lake Mungo, is a mockumentary. And one of my favorites is This Is Spinal Tap, which is one of my very first movies that Rob Reiner had directed. Oh, I love that movie. Rob Reiner at that time was the best filmmaker in the world, and nobody wants to give him credit for it. It all went downhill when it, I guess coincidentally or oxymoronically went to North. That was North was the beginning of the downfall. But up until then, there was nobody that could touch Rob Reiner. I like in Spinal Tap the scene where one of the band is saying to Rob Reiner, we have our amps to go to 11. Absolutely. I did enjoy Hell House. Dude, yeah, no, you're not alone. I'm telling you, you were one of many that messaged me how much they liked this movie. Exactly, Kubrick. After the movie, there was an actual band called Spinal Tap. Totally agree, Grande wasn't a fan at all. Found it to be quite a snooze fest. Yeah, I mean, I could totally see someone saying this one was a snooze fest. Nice one, Mernsy. Yes, I know Will is a big fan. Dr. Howdy666 said I would like it, and I didn't. He lied to me. Oh, no. What friends lie to who? Mernsy didn't even watch the right one. Well, did he? Did he not watch the right one? Is that true? Oh, my God. Imagine you watch, like, the prequel. There was an urban legend where a babysitter is scared by what she believes is the statue of a clown, which, yes, I've heard that story too. I don't know, like they really did try to make that clown scary. Like there's a lot of scenes where they show it. Is it a mannequin? Is it not? Was he standing here? Did he move over here? Did its head move? Oh my God, their heads don't move. Like there's a lot of that in it. If you like that type of, then that can work. It just, I don't know, for me, for here, I was like, all right, man, I don't know, there's something about it. That's the thing with found footage films. The buildup is always to the final 15 minutes is generally all the snooze fest with a few things thrown in here and there, but normally that last 15 minutes is worth it. Exactly. And those 15 minutes here didn't live up to it. But I would even say I was just so let down by, I would have liked to have known these characters. I don't know if this necessarily even needed to be found footage. We could have just, we're opening this up. You could have easily, if you structured this like a normal picture, like the opening shot, we're in the car with the people. And okay, we do this haunted house. Give me some development. Whoa, here it is. We get some interesting shots of the house, the haunted hell, whatever you want to call it. And then, we get the backstory. We get to meet these people a little bit more. I think the way they did it, it just really, the found footage aspect for this movie hurt it. But for most that like it, I think it adds to the scare elements so well that they wouldn't have it any other way. So, a person that likes this movie probably going to disagree. Mernsy watch Hell LLC, starring Gerda. Yeah, that part was stupid. Yeah, stupid with 2 O's. I watched Hell House from 2015. That's the one then. Yes, wrong one. No, he watched the right one. I'm with you, Grant. I wasn't feeling this at all. Dude, it's funny. We're in such a minority. I can't even tell you. The amount of votes this got was crazy. Lake Mungo and Last Broadcast were up for a while. This came out of nowhere with all the votes. That's why right now it looks like the Scarface is going to win the De Palma poll. But oh man, is you never know with the votes and how out of control it can go. You never know because this particular movie, it had legs. Alex Grave, as a wise man once said, "You're tearing me apart. You're tearing me apart." I'm sorry, I am. I know you like this one. You messaged me about it. You were one of the people. Nah, look, mate, to each their own. You like what you like. Absolutely, no, absolutely. I appreciate that. It's funny. Juju Ninja, Australian guy. We're going to be talking about an Australian horror movie in just a few minutes here. Nothing wrong with having your own opinion. Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. Where are these votes, Grande? The community tab, you could vote for which De Palma film that the fan vote's going to get. Of course, we're going to cover Blowout next week, and we're also be covering The Untouchables. You guys decide the other movie. It's on the community tab. You can vote for whatever De Palma movie is there. Right now, it looks like Scarface, but like I said, it's 2 days. You never know, because it was last broadcast up until like 2 days before, and then Hell House LLC just got it looked like 30 votes in a row. It seemed like it was just pretty crazy. But Hell House LLC, man, I don't know. I've watched it twice now. It just never did it for me. But I know I'm in the minority with that. And if you want to, give me a comment down below defending the movie, totally by all means. I would love to, hear you guys defend it, because I would be all ears to that. We got good brother Tom checking in. Hi, all. I thought the first Hell House was okay. You haven't seen bad acting until you see the Oscar winners in the second and third. Oh, bad. I can't imagine. I really thought they were bad actors in this, really bad. I was like, oh, geez. But I take your word, because the sequels have really low ratings, as does that prequel. So if this is the best of your movies, my God, I'm not even brave enough to check out the rest. And truthfully, I thought Hell LLC would be my favorite. The amount of people who love it, it's crazy. AJ's Happy Fun Time channel checks in. Couldn't get into this one. No, me neither. I couldn't really either. Oh, the third one is so very bad. Yeah, see, that's my fear. If I don't like this, I can imagine how much I'd hate the sequels. So I don't know. I stay away. But the next one here is an interesting take, because, again, like Hell House LLC, the next one we're going to be talking about has garnered I'll repeat it, an insane cult following. This next movie has become like, some people say it's like one of the all-time classics now. And Second Sight, like I was saying before, is doing a big special edition 4K of this. I believe it's already out. You can get the Lake Mungo 4K. And I guess, I kind of spoiled what movie we'll be talking about here next. But I guess without further ado, from the year 2008 to mostly 2009, but IMDb for some reason does say 2008, this is Lake Mungo. Yes, Lake Mungo from 2008. Of course, we have a brief plot synopsis that I actually clicked off on. I'm sorry. Let me go back to the brief plot synopsis. No, we got to go forward. And now we're there. Okay. 16-year-old Alice Palmer drowns while swimming in the local dam. When her body is recovered and a verdict of an accidental death is returned, her grieving family buries her. The family then experiences a series of strange and inexplicable events centered in and around their home. Profoundly unsettled, the Palmers seek the help of a psychic and parapsychologist, Ray Kermey. Ray discovers that Alice led a secret double life. A series of clues lead the family to Lake Mungo, where Alice's secret past emerges. Yes, Lake Mungo. This, and I always start this off of talking about this, was one of the After Dark Horror Fest movies. This was part 4. This was the last year for a long time that they did it. And I know they brought it back in 2015 with the After Dark Horror Fest number 5. This was a part of that, and I saw it way back in the day on DVD, and I thought it was okay. Now, I'm still kind of in that ballpark. I still think it's a mixed bag. It does do some things good. It does do some things where I'm like, But, there's no doubt about it. There are some people that herald this as one of their favorite movies. Like, I know famously Jordan Peele has said this is the movie that scared him the most. I know there are a lot of big reviewers on here that have said this is like one of the best horror movies of the modern era. If you feel that way, that's awesome. And I'd love for you to share with me why you feel that way. I think it's fine. But I think it's like more middle of the road, more mixed bag than an all-time classic and a movie that's being crowned by all these people. That's just me, though. There are things I really like in it. They really are. The idea of it, of almost being an homage to Twin Peaks, I think right off the bat, I love Twin Peaks. I love Fire Walk With Me is my favorite Twin Peaks thing of anything. I love that movie. I love the whole story of Laura Palmer, and I love the performance. And I think that's one of my favorite movies. It really is. I love Twin Peaks Fire Walk With Me. It's a great movie. And this, you have the whole similar setup. We have, instead of Laura Palmer, we have Alice Palmer. And, they're both found in this lake, we open up with the family. They're all being interviewed like it's a Netflix documentary, if you will. And they're talking about the day that she went missing. We were all swimming in the water, and my son got out of the water, and I looked to see if I could find Alice, and she was missing. The water was still. And they worry about it, they dread over it, they can't find this girl. And then of course, like a few, like 24 hours or so later, they find her body, and it's all decomposed, and they bury her. And you would think, okay, like, we found conclusion, what's going on? As the movie goes on, we start to see her appear in, whether it be photos taken around the house. The brother's getting into a lot of photography, and he'll be taking pictures of the backyard. And every now and again, it feels like you could see her in the background standing there. And, it starts to try to get these creepy vibes going on. Like, did she really die? What was really happening? And I like, on paper, the horrors of the fact that you may never know exactly who somebody is. I love that. I love the psychological horror of that. On paper, she seemed like innocent, shy, 16-year-old Alice Palmer, wouldn't harm a fly. But who really was she behind closed doors? And we get some really shocking revelations as this movie goes on. So spoilers for people that want to see it and are interested and think it would go be up their alley that haven't seen it. We learn the fact that she has had sex as an underage minor with their neighbor. And we see these like home videos of her having sex with the husband and wife of the neighborhood. Weird, really weird, disturbing kind of scene. There's, of course, her boyfriend character had no idea about this stuff. We get so many ideas of who she might have been behind closed doors. And then we're also told that she had a really weird incident when they went to this trip at a place called Lake Mungo. And they are trying to find out more information about that. They go to psychics and stuff. And there's some really good scenes in this. There's a great scene where the psychic sits down with Alice Palmer like months before her death. And she tells him about this nightmare that she has, this reoccurring nightmare, where it's really, really, I love how it's told. I can try to see if I can find the quotes here. I don't know if they're going to have them on IMDb. That's something I should have probably prepared for, to kind of deliver this a little bit more. Let me click here on quotes and see if it gives me anything that I could like paraphrase here. She says, "I feel like something bad is going to happen to me. I feel like something bad has happened. It hasn't reached me yet, but it's on its way." And the mother has this great monologue about the dream. "I had a dream last night, and I was cold and wet. I felt heavy, like I'd been drugged. And when I woke up, the sensations didn't go. I was feeling sick and confused, and I was starting to get scared. I needed to see Mom. I needed to talk to her. I stumbled to her room, and as I stood there at the bed watching them, I was overcome by an intense sadness. And then the sadness turned to fear. I just stood there paralyzed with fear and realized that there was nothing that they could do for me anymore. I've never felt so utterly alone. Everything felt wrong with my body, the ways things looked crooked. Then I realized there's something wrong with me, and I started to cry there at the foot of the bed." Just really interesting monologues that they have in this movie. And I thought that stuff really worked. And I thought the acting for the most part was good. It's definitely a step up from Hell House LLC. These people felt organic. This is an Australian horror film, so everybody has a very a thick Australian accent. And again, I thought the actors did a fine enough job. And there's little hints and quirks and like tidbit scares along the way. Most of that stuff works. Now, there is issues though, and why I think it's a mixed bag. I do think the movie feels a little bit redundant after a while. It runs an hour and 21 minutes, and yet after a while, it's like, all right, okay, I see her in the corner. How many times can you show me pictures of her in the corner? It works like the first couple of times. But again, when it gets into the dozens, when it gets into the 20s, it feels like it's like, I don't know if it got to that number, but it feels like it. It's like, man, okay, let's move on with the story. And again, the more you learn about the double life, I was so much more interested in that than anything else in the movie. I was like, I want to hear more about this double life. And we get interviews with people that thought they knew her family, her friends, her boyfriend included. And I liked how that was all told. I thought that was really, really good. I liked all of that stuff. I think also on the other side of the coin too, this is a horror movie generally aiming at the horrors of grief, right? As we follow her family and their inability to forgive themselves. There's a part where the father, he identifies the body as he sees her mangled up, like distorted face, and it's all swollen and it's been under the water, so it's all destroyed and disheveled. And he identifies the body. The mother can't get out of the car. She can't be looking at it. She just can't bear herself to look, and see her dead daughter's body. And there's a point where because of her popping up in all these photos, they think we have to dig up the grave. Like we still have hope that she's still there. And there's even an interesting point where the documentary crew filmmaker, he's like, hey, why do you always leave the porch on, the porch light? And he says, well, she might come home. Like, we never know. I'm keeping it on always. She may just come home. And that's I think a big thing about this. They, number one, don't forgive themselves with, of course, not being able to prevent her death. But I think for a longitude of other reasons. I mean, they start to feel, did we even really know our daughter? Did we really know Alice Palmer? Did we know one Alice Palmer where there really was another one? And again, I love that. I love the whole, on page, on one side of the coin, it's this person that we think we all know and love, but that could really just be one side of them. I liked that. I thought that was really good. It all kind of crescendos to where we see the footage that she shot at Lake Mungo. We find, that she had buried her cell phone there, and the family's like, what the hell? They drive out there, they charge the phone, and they watch the video on her phone. And what she finds, she's like kind of taking a video along the lake, and she sees her future dead self. And it was like, whoa, like that whole visual, that revelation, I thought was really good. I was like, whoa. And the music they used, really eerie. I really liked that. I thought that was really good. I was like, wow, like that's really, really good. Liked that a lot. And of course, they come to the whole conclusion. She saw her ghost. She saw her impending death. She was afraid. Maybe that's why she was trying all these sexual activities with her neighbors. Maybe that's why she was trying to live up life to her most fullest, get everything in, because she knew that impending doom was upon her. And that could be a really horrifying thing. And then, of course, the family seems to come to terms with it at the end. They're just like, you know what? She's gone. We got to move on. We got to move out. So they literally move on. They move out of the house, and they take one last picture in front of the house. And we could see that Alice is in the window watching them. Like Alice is there too. Like everyone gets closure, and it's kind of a happy ending. I like it. It's fair. It's fine. It's a decent enough movie, but it's overrated. Like there's no, I'm sorry. Like it's the themes and concepts and psychology all work, and they're all very well told, very well done. I thought the director did a very good job. I saw talent here. And I know the whole thing is this director's fallen off the face of the earth. Nobody could find him. And he apparently gave an interview where that was his plan. He knew this was going to be a big cult classic, so he fucking fell off the face of the earth on purpose. Whatever. I don't know. I don't believe that for 2 seconds. That would be a pretension of a whole different level. If you made a movie and then purposely fucking fell off the face of the earth and knew it was going to become a cult classic, dude, nobody knows that much coming. But I mean, it is, part of the film's legacy, I guess, that nobody could find the director now. Like nobody knows where he is, and nobody can locate him. All these fucking marks on YouTube that put this movie over, and they all want to find him, and they can't. Joel Anderson was the name of the guy. This is the only thing he ever did. It's good. It's just redundant. They needed to add something to liven the pace a little bit, and it really suffers from a pacing standpoint. This is an 81-minute movie that really feels like it's an hour 45 at least. It is tedious watch. Does some of it work? Absolutely. Does the psychology work? Yes. Acting? Yes. Like it does the little things right, and I appreciate it. I think it's a passable film. It is not a movie that has great rewatchability. Like this is the second time I ever watched it. I watched it all the way years ago on the DVD, After Dark Horror Festival, and this is the first time, honest to God, since then, in probably 14 years, that I've gone back to rewatch this. And it'll probably be that long, if not longer, before I ever try to delve into this again. Like, it's fine for what it is, but people like Jordan Peele, oh, it's the scariest movie ever made, and people on YouTube, oh my God, this is one of the greats. No way. I'm sorry, no way. Like you're entitled to your opinion if it did scare you that much. If you do, like there are movies that I love that people don't like. Stop motion is a perfect example. That's my favorite of the year, and so many people didn't like that movie. So I've been on your side of the fence. But it just seems like so many people have come together and really like put this movie up on a pedestal and crowned it, where I'm like, I don't know. Like, is it really worthy of that? I don't know if it's worthy of that crown. I really don't. But that's just me. It does work for the most part. It's just, I don't know, a little bit overrated in my humble opinion. But let's go to comments. Let's see what you guys have to say. I'm curious to hear. Your thoughts on this one? Let's see. I think we were here. Yeah, the fourth Hell House Origins is the best of the series. Really? Okay, I don't know if I can get through. I don't know if I can get to part 4, Tom. I'm not that brave. Hi, all. AJ says, love Wreck and Quarantine equally, but after that, I prefer Quarantine 2 over the Wreck sequels. But I think they're all okay. I love Wreck way more. As far as Wreck 2 is a good sequel, and I've never seen 3 and 4. Quarantine, I think, is a largely skippable movie. I saw Quarantine 2. Quarantine 2 is on the plane, right? And it's shot like a regular movie. I was like, what was the point of this? That is one of the most random sequels ever. It's like, why? It was like a direct-to-video movie that kept nothing other than the whole virus thing the same, and it's on an airplane hangar. It's, oh man, that's not a good movie. But welcome, Rusty. 4K on a found footage film, exactly. Granted, this is shot with all HD cams. It's not necessarily your like, oh my god, like running around type of found footage like Wreck. Like this is, it does look good in HD. I watched the movie in HD. It looks fine. Like it's an upgrade from the DVD with no features. I remember that those DVDs, they just have trailers. I have a ton of them. I have a ton of the After Dark Horror Fest stuff. But it's cool. Listen, it's a cult film. And it definitely deserved the special edition it got because there are a lot of people that were clamoring for it. And Second Sight, from what I understand, from what I've been told, does the best. Like I've heard people say they're the best in the game, and I can't really deny it. Seeing, secondhand, not firsthand, but like they gave May a big special edition. They gave Dawn of the Dead the big special edition. Martin the big special edition. Like they put some of the movies. I know they're doing The Hitcher, that's going to be the biggest release 4K wise probably ever from a standpoint of anticipation. So I don't doubt that they did a great job with that release of this movie, and that this movie has earned it because a lot of people really feel strongly about their cult connection to it. I just personally I'm not the guy who'd be buying that. I would never, it's fine. It's a stream it movie once every 14 years. Like that's kind of where I'm at with it. They're both fine films. Hey, Rusty, how's it going? It just felt exactly that. What's the fucking point? More money for the studio. Exactly. Yeah. That's, it's a special edition, but it's also in 2160p, baby. LLC is okay. Not a big fan of it. Lake Mungo is, again, only okay to me. I love a lot of other found footage films way more than Lake and LLC. And isn't that funny? Because these are Lake and LLC like have become giant, like really giant, like you can watch a ton of videos on YouTube. And I did this week. I was like so curious. I'm like, I need to hear the people that really put these movies over. And man, this one in particular, holy shit. Like they're talking about this movie like it's like Gone with the Wind, man. I'm like, holy shit. I don't know about how being this good, but it's fine. It's definitely, I'm in the, okay, it's fine. Like on this one, LLC, I don't like. I really don't like that movie. That movie sucks to me. I think it's an Aussie thing. The feel of it is very Australian. Yes, definitely. And then like the guy that plays the dad, especially, like he felt very, I don't know why, he reminded me of the Crocodile Hunter. Like I don't know what it was about him. Maybe not looks, but just there's something about him. And I thought he was like the best character. I like Aussie horror, but Lake was only a like it all right level. And yeah, it is at least better than LLC. Yes, definitely. Like I would, if you gave me the choice, I would watch Lake Mungo again. There's no doubt. Like I would totally, no way. Hey, Gronny and friends, Mr. Dan and horrors in the hazy. I don't explain myself well, so I'm not sure if I will make sense, but I'd rather watch things as they happen. Movies like Wreck, Quarantine, etc. They'll tell me about what happened, show me what happened. So you're not a fan of the mockumentary style, which is totally understandable. For this movie, it works way better. Like where I said Hell House, it was crippled by the found footage thing. And I think it could have been better had it been shot like a standard movie. This one had to be mockumentary. Like that's the whole idea. I don't know if this movie would have worked without the found footage thing. So I think this one, it definitely, it helped it. It elevated it for sure. Lake Mungo would have been better if it was only about 40 minutes long, too samey as it went on. Could have worked that. Yeah. So basically what I said, it's just very redundant. Like how many times, Tom, if you took a shot of how many times they show a picture and then purposely zoom in. So it's like, you see that, right? You could see the lady in the corner. Like you see that, like, I'm like, dude, you've done this so many times now that people are looking for it. Like, you don't have to keep doing, like, showing me where she is. Like, it's like, where's Waldo? Where's Alice Palmer in this fucking thing? They should have just had her in a fucking bright, like, red and white striped shirt or something. I was like, all right, after a while, I was like, okay, your gimmick is getting redundant, and we're again a half hour in. The whole about the woman seeing her future death makes me think about that movie 12 Monkeys. Yeah, and that's a good movie. That's a better movie than this. The porch light thing reminded me of Flanagan's Haunting of Hill House, which that's a way better movie. Like, to me, and I know my friend Billy Henry hates Mike Flanagan. I think Mike Flanagan's great. Like, that's a fucking filmmaker, man. That guy, anything he touches, he really, really, really makes work. Like, I just think the world of Mike Flanagan. I really do. I think he's a great, great horror director, and it's always exciting to see what he's going to do next. I'm in the boat of, like, people are like, oh, imagine what he'd do with Elm Street. I'm like, dude, I'm done with Elm Street. Let Elm Street be. Let him be an artist. Let him do what he wants to do. Let him be original. Because look at all the original content he's spewed out, man. Most of it, if not all of it, is really damn good. So I have no interest in him or anyone. I don't care if you reincarnated Stanley Kubrick. I don't want to see him make an Elm Street movie. I don't care who you are. I don't want to see another Elm Street movie. That shit's dead. Let it die. There's Let It Ride and there's Let It Die. Let it die. Just let it die. Let these fucking artists be artists. It's fine. It's not great, but I know a fellow Aussie who hate this film. Really, I from people that I talked to that saw it, everyone was like unanimously like, that's a great fucking movie. I'm like, it's fine, but I don't know. And Grande and everyone agrees that Sleepaway Camp 3 is the worst film of all time. Yeah, no, that's like, it's so funny, man, how much ammo you have. Like, if you look full screen, it's like classic movie, Sleepaway Camp 3. And that, I know that I champion this movie like none other. Like, I really, really love Sleepaway Camp 3, but you definitely have some ammo on me. I don't know. People say it's a horrible, one of the worst slasher movies. I love it. It's one of my favorite slasher movies. Probably my favorite slasher movie. I'm not even kidding. As Above, So Below, Afflicted, Unfriended, and Dark Web are a few of my favorites. I really liked As Above, So Below in the theater. I tried to rewatch it, and it just didn't work for me the same. It worked in the theater, so maybe I'm due for a third watch and where I could really make up my mind. Afflicted is awesome, and Unfriended I gave possibly the rant of the year on this channel. I hate Unfriended. Unfriended would be in my bottom 10, like probably bottom 10 wide release theatrical movies ever. It's got to be up there. I hate Unfriended. I think that's a garbage movie. Quarantine 2 could have been so much more. Yes, it could have. That's true. But they didn't have any money. That was a weird sequel that just like never should have been made. I just prefer my viruses to be viral, not demon worms. Fair enough. So I guess you're not a Jason Goes to Hell guy, or are you? I get you. Jason Goes to Hell is my favorite Friday 13th movie, which Friday 13th is tomorrow. Mob rules. They'd rather jump on a bandwagon than push their own cart. LOL. Chest. All caps is a great indie found footage that should go viral instead of something like Mungo and LLC. That's the thing, though. You never can pick what goes viral. I would mark out if stop motion became as viral as Hereditary, but it's just not. It's not as popular. Like, you gotta live with it, you know. Like, I would agree that the Lake Mungo, I'm surprised that it's gone viral. Hell House, it's gone viral, but hey, it's cool. They did something right. If that many people band around a movie and it becomes a cult classic, they did something right. You know, whether it works for me or not, it's a classic to some, and that's all that matters. The filmmakers did their job at that point if it's garnered that following. The gimmick is very Australian news. They reuse the same footage over and over. Yeah, that again, it's just a little redundant. It's fine, Grande. Just saw that was behind you. Yeah, absolutely. Grande, sometimes you watch a movie over and over again, you just won't like it. Yeah, that's true. That's totally true. Lake Mungo, though, this was my second round with it. If I had to rate it, it's like a 6.5. I'll give it a 6.5. 6.5 out of 10 for Lake Mungo. I like the movie. I just think it's a little bit overrated for me. I don't know. But I saw a lot of people say they don't like the cover of this. I think that's an awesome cover. It doesn't necessarily fit the movie at all, but I think that's a really cool poster of her like descending into the water, like she disappeared into the water. I don't know. I kind of liked that. I thought that was really cool. But everyone knows Alice Sweet Alice sucks. Hell no, Alice Sweet Alice is awesome. Just kidding. And Alice Sweet Alice that's one that everyone pretty much likes, and that I know likes. I wonder how it happens because just a couple years ago, Mungo was kind of trashed on most channels as mediocre. I don't know. I don't know either, but it happens. Like, listen, I wish someone was in the room with me when I found out that Jennifer's Body is considered a cult classic. To this day, at the minute of recording this, I still don't understand how Jennifer's Body has become this big cult classic movie. And to the point where there's graphic novels, there's like stage plays. It's become like a huge fucking movie. And I thought it sucked then. I think it sucks now. I think it's forever a piece of shit. I really do. Like I'm actually astonished that's a cult classic. Like, to me, the fact that that movie has a bigger cult classic status than Ginger Snaps, which is a really good movie, which is a movie that was completely ripped off, in my opinion, by Jennifer's Body. I think if you want to see that movie done right, watch Ginger Snaps. That's a great movie. That's a really, really good movie. But man, Jennifer's Body, what? Like, of all the movies to rally and get behind, I don't understand why that would be one of them. I really don't. But again, it struck a nerve. Sleepaway Camp 3 ain't bad. Sleepaway Camp 2 is far superior, though. Yeah, most people feel that way. I love them. I love them all. I love the first three a lot. Return to Sleepaway Camp is the piece of trash. I'm not a fan of Pulp Fiction. Really? I know it's not horror. I think Pulp Fiction's great. Well, Jennifer's Body is, all caps, glorious. But, all caps, I could say at least I loved it before it became a fad. LOL. Yeah, no, it seems like a lot of people, yeah, that's how they feel. I remember at the time of that coming out, and I've talked about that on past streams, but we could briefly mention it before we go here. I remember when that came out and like it was like, oh my God, Megan Fox, the hottest thing in the world. They ripped off the poster for Student Bodies, which or even as a kid, that irked me. That's 15 years ago, that movie, right? 2009. That's a movie that it's like, wow, that's 15 years old. And I remember even then I was disappointed. I just didn't like it. And then I watched for the Overrated, Underrated show, and I still think that's an overrated movie. I don't understand why that's a cult classic, but by all means, if people love it, that's cool, man. Rewatched Byzantium yesterday. Great recommendation from you. Stop motion was great. The Lodge still underwhelming, though. Dude, I'm so stoked that you liked Byzantium that much. That is a fucking... Where's the cult for that movie? God damn it. Like, we're talking about movies that deserve a little more love. Like, oh my God, there's a spider in here. Holy shit. I'm like looking up. I'm like, what the fuck? I just killed a fucking spider. Back to what I was saying, though, before so rudely interrupted by an arachnid. Byzantium's awesome. Like, the acting in that movie, everybody's just so good in it. The filmmaking, like, that's such an underrated movie, dude. I love Byzantium. And stop motion, yeah, that's my pick of the year. I thought that was a fucking great movie, man. Like, I absolutely herald that movie. It's funny. You have Aisling Franciosi, who's the lead in that, and she's also the Nightingale. And again, The Last Voyage of the Demeter, which I know I make fun of a lot. She's in that movie tomorrow with James McAvoy, Don't Speak or whatever. I forget. It's the remake of the good movie, probably. I can't imagine that remake being any good. I've seen her in that. I'm like, dude, what a shame that this is getting a big theatrical release. It's a remake of a movie that came out in a foreign country 2 years ago. That's getting the big theatrical run. And stop motion was something that played in select theaters in New York and California and went direct to Shudder. It's just like, oh, it just pisses me off. But I think it was a great movie too. Totally, dude, The Lodge, the amount of people, you would not believe the amount of people I've tried to show The Lodge and be like, do you like The Lodge? The amount of people have been like, this is one of the worst, stupidest, like, people have buried that movie to me, so that's totally fine. Any consolation, stop motion is, I think, way better than The Lodge, and Byzantium probably is too. So I'm totally, of those three, yeah, but I liked The Lodge. I can't help it. I tried to make it through Sleepaway Camp 4, just can't do it. Well, dude, my gosh, that's a bad film. So, yeah, that's the worst one by a mile, the worst one, Return to Sleepaway Camp. How dare you mention that piece of shit before Friday the 13th? I refuse to acknowledge Jason Goes to Hell as part of the Friday franchise. I'm teasing you, but I truly hate it. That's my least favorite of all of them. It's that or Jason X. I mean, take your pick. Those movies both fucking suck. Agree, Jennifer's Body is great. Adam Brody should do more dark roles. Oh, I know Mernsey was loving the 8675309 as they were stabbing Jennifer to death, and they assumed she was a virgin. Megan Fox. Oh, Jesus. Have you seen the trailer for the new Salem's Lot? Much better than this. Dude, I think that looks awesome. I did see the trailer for that. Actually, don't tell my boss, but I watched it today in the office towards the end of the day at work. I put it on. I was like, I got to see this trailer. I think it looks great. It's certainly going to be better than the Rob Lowe Salem's Lot, but I don't know if anybody could top the original with David Soul and Toby Hooper and how good that movie was, considering the length of it. But it's a TV movie. That's something I don't know if I've ever reviewed the original Salem's Lot. That would be a fun one to do for October. So maybe we'll like aim towards reviewing that in October. That's a great October movie. Is the original Salem's Lot. But the new one I think looks awesome. I think it's directed by Gary Dauberman, I want to say his name is. He did the Annabelle prequel, which was much better than Annabelle 2014. So yeah, Granny the Exterminator. Yeah, that was crazy. Speak No Evil was good. The original, yes, it was good. That's a movie though. Again, it could have been a little shorter. Like it just took a while to get to what you knew basically that they were fucked. Like you just kind of knew it. It took a little while, but it was good. Like the acting was good, and I was surprised. I'm like, why would you remake that? Like why? It's been 2 years. The acting was fine in the original. Did you do it just to get James McAvoy a crazy role because he was in Split? Like, is that why? I don't know. I have no interest in that fucking remake. I really don't. I have a hard time supporting anything Blumhouse, anything. I mean, I just don't like the guy. Granted, The Lodge is good. In my opinion, yes. And like 90% of the people I have shown the movie to or told them to watch and they watched it, about 90% of them tell me it's the biggest piece of shit. So I don't know. Even if you don't like it, I don't see it as the biggest piece of shit of all time. But some people do. Some people fucking hate it. I'm telling your boss. Yeah, please don't tell my boss. Yeah, no. It was at like 4:30 in the day. So, nobody was doing anything. So I was like, I got to see this. Is the Speak No Evil remake of the movie with Kane? No, that's See No Evil with Kane. I love that fucking movie too. That's an episode I've wanted to do of Grande's Grave for a long time, is do wrestlers in horror movies, because you would be shocked at how many of those exist. Like there's Endgame with Kurt Angle playing a serial killer who cross-dresses. I'm not even fucking kidding you. There is a fucking movie where Kurt Angle, the Olympic gold medalist who won a gold medal with a broken freaking neck and multiple-time world and WWE and TNA champion, plays a cross-dressing serial killer. I am not kidding you. That movie exists. There's WrestleManiac with Rey Mysterio Sr. There's Albino Farm with Chris Jericho. See No Evil with Kane. There's so many horror movies with wrestlers in them. And I would love to do a show on that one day. Like just go through the gauntlet of bad horror movies starring pro wrestlers, because it would be torture for me for the week, but it would probably make for a really funny show. I did watch Stop Motion. It was very, very, very nice experience. So you do give good advice sometimes. LOL. Thank you. LOL. I always give a suggestion a chance, even if it comes from someone who poops on my Rusty, I'm sorry. I'll tell you though, I am glad last week we agreed on all the Betty Davis movies. Like that was cool. Like I was so, because I always feel like I'm like, Soul Survivors sucks. And then you're like, I quite like Soul Survivors. I watch it every fall with my with my hot cocoa, and like I feel so bad. I'm like, God damn, Rusty could have a dartboard at home where he just throws fucking darts at my face. It doesn't work for you, huh? Bullseye. Hell in Frogtown is interesting with Roddy Piper. Oh Jesus, because I'm like, what? That's random, but no, I wouldn't consider a horror movie. They Live, I just reviewed, but yeah, that's definitely like elements. It's more sci-fi action-ish, but it has elements of the aliens and shit like that. Those are horror elements. I get movie titles mixed up. Unpopular opinion, I suppose I like WrestleManiac. Really? That's interesting. That's a pretty bad movie. As are most movies, horror-wise starring pro wrestlers, but that is what it is. So that was the found footage horror special, as we got off on a little bit of a tangent here at the end, which I appreciate. I always like to go at least an hour and a half on these. But yeah, no, that is Wreck. That is, of course, Lake Mungo and Hell House LLC. If you're catching the replay, comment down below. Let me know what you thought of those three movies, how you'd rate those three movies, how you'd rank them, whatever. You want to give me your thoughts on one of them, if not all of them. I'd be totally cool with any of that. This was a very fun show to do. If you guys want in the future, I would totally target 3 more found footage horror movies and let you guys vote on them. I'd be open to doing that down the road. And yeah, no, you guys got me thinking for October ideas now. So I definitely want to be targeting maybe Salem's Lot, the original. I don't know when the remake comes out, though. I forget if it's October. It would be cool to do the remake and the original on the same show, and the fucking Rob Lowe one. That would be really funny. That would be really, really funny. You do Salem's Lot, Return to Salem's Lot, the Rob Lowe one from 2004, and the new one. That would be fun. A Salem's Lot retrospective. If it comes out in October, we'll do it for sure. Great show, buddy. Thank you so much. They Live is amazing. Frogtown is great. Have a nice weekend, Grande. Thank you so much, Kubrick Lover. I bought Wreck, but not the other two. So there's my ranking. Okay, yeah, well, I would agree with that. So we're okay. We're the same ranking there. I mean, we're both the same. Wreck, Lake Mungo, Hell House. I think that's the same as the three. So what, 2 weeks in a row, Rusty, we agree on all three in the same order. So what do you have? Take your graveyard. Mernsy, thank you so much for watching. WrestleManiac is amazing, awful, bad, fun. October 3rd. You know what? Then we'll fucking do it. I will tell you right now, we will do a Salem's Lot retrospective on Grande's Graveyard October. That sounds like a very fun show. So we'll do it, goddammit. We'll do all those. If it's October, we're doing Salem's Lot. That will be one of the 4 October shows. Great show as always. Only on the Graveyard. 2 sweet peas. Only, yes. Okay. So I guess, well, before my chat precedes me and says this, thank you so much for watching our Grande's Graveyard tonight. Gotta love the threads. Thank you guys so much. Have a safe, happy, healthy weekend, and we will catch you next time. Only on the Graveyard. 2 sweet peas, and we'll catch you next time.